Yes, sir, we're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Walgreens exclusive Star Wars Black Series 6-inch C-3PO figure review. Let's do it.
That's crispy.
Taking a quick look at the back of the box, there's a little bio here that reads C-3PO. C-3PO is a droid programmed for etiquette and protocol. Over the years, he was involved in some of the galaxy's most thrilling battles and is fluent in more than 7 million forms of communication. And then that same message is repeated a few other times in different languages, and we've got some warnings and the Disney logo and the Hasbro logo, and that's pretty much it. Let's get this guy out. So I got C-3PO out of the package, and my first impression is that I went into this wanting to hate the figure. I still don't really like him. One word to describe the figure is lackluster. It's just not as good as it could be, and I don't think they would have had to have done too much to make it a great figure. It's just half-assed, basically. I saw pictures of it beforehand, and I immediately turned my nose up to the figure and said that I don't like it and I'm not going to like it. Once I got it out of the package here and got to fiddle around with it a little bit, it's not as terrible as I expected, but it's still not a great figure in my opinion. It just leaves a lot to be desired. So we'll take a close look at him, look at the articulation, and I'll tell you why I don't particularly like this figure. Looking at him closer, the main thing is that they just left out a lot of details. A lot of details that they could have brought out with just better paint application and more shading and weathering, and it's just such a flat figure in terms of the paint, and it's missing a few things. I know he's supposed to have like a little circular portion on the chest right here, if I'm not mistaken, and that's not there. And I don't like how the wires here look really like half-assed, basically. I don't know, I'm gonna keep using that term, but there's only red and white and one like little yellow wire. There's no green, there's no other colors that you've seen on the character and the movies. And look at this back here, it just doesn't look great. There is no weathering or anything on the figure at all. The paint applications are just so bland. I'm just not feeling the paint at all. I do like the actual gold color. I think they got that right, but it just needed a lot of black wash and just some different things in here to make it look better. And even down here on the silver leg, it just doesn't look great. It could be so much better for a robot that's been out in the desert and getting weathered and going through a lot. He just looks a little too clean in my opinion. And then there's the articulation. In terms of articulation, you got a ball joint here, but the head is only going to go up about that far and go down that far. I mean, I guess you don't really need the greatest range of motion on C-3PO, but still, you want, me personally, I always want as much articulation as possible on every figure. I don't care what type of figure it is. If it's a human or a droid or whatever, I want to see a lot of articulation. But anyway, the head can actually pivot just a little bit on the joint. That actually gives him a little more personality. He is one to kind of move his head around a lot and when he's expressing himself. So you got that. There's a ball joint in here hidden inside this little shoulder apparatus thing, and the shoulder actually moves up and down, so that can do a full 360. And then you got the arm that's on a ball joint here, but it's only going to go up and down about that much. It's only going to go up that far. It'll come in, and that's pretty much it. But it can actually turn on that joint as well and do a full 360. You're not going to get any bend at all here at the elbow, which is unfortunate. And again, he didn't do too much moving around with his arms and the in the movies, but still, you want that articulation. And even these little, like, pistons or whatever you want to call these things here, no detail at all on them. These are the joints that are supposed to be helping the mechanism of his arm to move, and it's just nothing there. No weathering, no nothing. But anyway, you get a hinge at the wrist here and a swivel. The upper torso articulation is pretty good. You know, it'll go back that far, not going to really go down too much. But again, he didn't do too much of that motion in the movies, I suppose. Legs are going to go up just about that far. You'll get a small bend at the knee, definitely not double jointed. You would think that the way this is cut here, it would actually rotate there as well, but no, that's pretty much it you're going to get for the legs. They'll come out just about that far. You do get a hinge and a pivot on the foot, so same thing on both sides as far as the arms and legs, and that's pretty much it as far as the articulation. I would have liked to have seen them put a cut in here, give him the elbow joint just for shits and giggles, but they didn't. So finally we got a Black Series 6-inch C-3PO and R2-D2 paired up. A lot of people missed out on R2-D2 and trying to backtrack and get them now. Kind of expensive. You know, they do actually look good together. I still do feel like C-3PO was maybe just a tad bit on the short side, but seeing them paired up here with R2-D2 and with the other Stormtroopers here from the Black Series, it does seem to work pretty well. I mean, you know, obviously in a little display here it looks pretty good, but still, overall, in my opinion, it's a very lackluster figure. They actually dropped two versions of this figure at just about the same time. It was this one, which is the original Trilogy version, and which is a Walgreens exclusive, and then they also dropped the version from the Force Awakens movie, which had the red arm. Not too much difference between the two. Red arm on the other one and the silver leg on this one. I think the wiring and the underbelly area looked a little different on the two figures as well, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong if you know in the comments, but that's pretty much it. Like I said, this one leaves a bit to be desired. Not the greatest figure, but definitely essential to your collection if you're trying to build your Rebel team or trying to do anything as far as the original trilogy is concerned. So there you have it. Until next time, peace.
That's crispy.